Once you win it, and you've got to go all the way to the end.
Lando into the final corner, his first win of the championship. Lando across the line to win in China.
Because you commit yourself to such a level where there is no compromise. You give everything you have.
The strategy paid off. Yeah, one of the best hits I've ever seen on the medium tires. Nick Vildellen wins the Monaco Grand Prix.
Deep in it was the final chicane. Rudy's trying to go for it on the inside. There's still both wheels of water. Megan Will's old school's gone down.
Oh my word!
And you need more than anything a very clear mind to understand exactly when is the moment to be aggressive, when is the moment to be calculated.
He spun. Brendan's spun.
Oh, wing image. Oh, Brendan's out.
He's down a race. Oh my God, he's down a race.
When you are under a lot of pressure, in a critical moment, in a championship or in a particular race, it's the one that can put together the combination between aggressivity and calculating things that will get the best result.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for round number 14 of 7. Is it 17? Round number 17. Yes.
Yep.
So we are, as I said, we're round on number 14 around the Mexico City circuit, the Autodromos Hermanos. If I said that right, I probably didn't, but you never know. I'm sure any Spaniards will be happy to correct me on that one. My name is Jake. I'll taking you guys through this as always. Buenas noches to everybody. And as always, I am joined by mi amigo, Mr. Daka. How you doing tonight, Dan?
Wagwan. Hello, everybody.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
God.
I'm sorry. Hello, everyone, and yes, very welcome to the 14th round of the season at Mexico. I would attempt to pronounce it as you did, but we are at a track in Mexico, so it should be. It should be absolutely wonderful. The championship continues to evolve. We've got a 15-point gap up at the top of the standings, and both of our contenders are going to be here tonight. We've got a better grid than we've had the last few weeks. 18 drivers, which is very good to see, as now I think we look to, hopefully, in the next couple minutes, get ready. So for the 14th round of 17, as we get right up to the sharp end of the season, Jack, let's get into it.
Certainly will. Obviously, we haven't. We're not in the lobby as of yet. We're just sort of waiting for the session to start. So, of course, just do bear with us for that one. But I mean, whilst we are, I may as well just take you through those standings. Like you said, it is a 15-point gap at the front of the field. Knuth, the German, managing to extend that gap by an extra 3 points from last week out at Imola. He is on 179 points, up ahead of Packer on 164 points. So the American, once again in that championship battle, once again having I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit of a bottle from him last week. I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying that, because as I said, it was pretty much of a bottle for that one. Killer Blue remains in third place with 117 points. In fourth is now Calm Mentalist, who took that win last week over at Imola, his second win in Division 2 in the whole of LOE, shall I say. As I said, first one being, of course, back in Season 2 in Monaco. But yeah, he's in fourth with 110 points. Zarma in fifth with 100 points to his name. Kunblai still in sixth with 92 points, obviously not racing out last week in Imola. TDB in seventh with 91 points, so very close between those two Dutch boys, sort of scrapping out for that sixth position. Maledictus in eighth with 71. Gary in ninth with 69 points. And Old School rounding out that top 10 with 51 points to his name. And I'll quickly just run through the constructors as well, because that's definitely not over, to say the least. The Alfa Romeos are on 270 points apiece, and the Williams are on 256 points. They're really the only two constructors that are left battling it out. Red Bull are in third with 151, and McLaren in fourth with 132. Alpine in fifth with 127. So quite the top two battling out for that top constructor 100%, and it's going to be a very tight one towards the end of the season. I think it'll probably come down to Brazil by the time we figure that one out. But yeah, I mean, even for the third place, the two Red Bulls of Old School and Zarma, you've got the two McLarens of Commentalist and Nolan, and then you've got the Alpines as well, who are, I think, Maledictus and who's the other Alpine now, if I'm not mistaken, because it was Glock, but I think he left the league earlier on this week, so I'm not too sure who's replaced him.
I don't think we have one. I was looking through the standings because it was mentioned in the D2 chat. I can't see another driver that's marked down for Alpine at the moment. So at the moment, I think it's just Maledictus representing that team as it stands.
Yeah, I think it is the case of that. So yeah, as I said, that's it's very close and it is definitely heating up a lot within that championship. But yeah, I mean, as I said, that main drivers' championship is where it really is at. 15 points between Knuth and Packer. Of course, Killer Blue's in third. He still has that outside chance, but he really needs things to kick off at the front tonight, and he needs to try and take the win tonight as well. Again, I know that it's Division 2, anything can happen, as we've been proven multiple times this season, but I really don't know how this is going to play out, to be honest with you, Dan.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. It is looking at the moment like a bit of a two-horse race in the standings. Killer Blue, those two DNFs he's had, USA and Belgium, both in races where he had the pace to challenge for the win. They are ones that really got away from him, and there's others that have stopped him from really challenging. Those top three, I think, do have an edge in pace over the rest of the field quite consistently, but it does come down. Killer Blue has just made a bit more mistakes than those front two, especially Knuth, who has just been rock solid most of the season, and that is why he is your championship leader as it stands, but still very close, very competitive, and all to play for into the last 4 rounds, and the first of those 4 is coming up right now. So we load into the Mexican Grand Prix. Absolutely pristine weather here. It's unlikely we'll see rain in either quality of the race, but we will see maybe someone in D2 can actually let us know on that. But now we look forward to an 18-minute qualifying session, and it's going to be very, very intriguing here in terms of how this plays out, because DRS trains can build up very strongly around this track, so ideally you don't want to get stuck, particularly in those midfield areas in this quali session.
No, you certainly don't. As I said, it's one of those that you know, it's, well, a lot of people are going to be sort of going out relatively early just to get a few laps on the board. You know, Mexico, as you said, is one of those tracks. It's very, very easy to invalidate around here. Like, as weird as it sounds, it's one of those tracks that it's like, because there's so many sort of tight and twisty turns, especially that middle section, the S section, sorry, shall I say. It is very sort of tight and twisty through there. So, yeah, I genuinely don't know how this is going to play out, who's going to qualify where. It just takes one little mistake in this qualifying for someone to, like, for example, for Packer or for Knuth, to be outside of that top 10 instead of being up towards the front end of the grid. And obviously, in all honesty, this is probably not the track you want to be starting on pole position at. The long run down to turn 1 it means that you're just basically caught vulnerable. I know it's not as bad as what it is normally in like real life F1, but that slipstream power is still there, and you can still get the opportunity to be overtaken and just be absolutely swamped by everybody else.
Yeah, such a long run. If you're on pole position, you need to get off the line crisp, get a good gap so that you can hold on to the entry. We're going to get a bit of a tour of the track now. QVR Packer, second place in the championship, 3-time race winner this season, has now just come over the line. We'll get a run through from him. Hopefully he's able to keep it valid and we can get a good run through from the Williams van. So now heading up towards turn 1, using that curve, you see, to get the car turned in the third gear then. Now flick it, you're going to see a lot of curve usage here through turns 2 and 3, and actually, well, I was talking about keeping it valid, but maybe I have jinxed the man. He is invalid early on in this session, unfortunately for him, so I guess we'll have to look to try and track someone else. I think the next car track is Peter. I'll hand back over to you, Jack, heading into the second sector now.
Yeah, Peter Dornabauer now just coming up towards the beginning of sector 2, breaking it around that 100 metre board again. This is now the tight and twisty section of this circuit. Now coming up towards the double right-handers is the Dutchman, keeping it into second, now short shifting out to third and into fourth, so nicely done for him. Now, as I said, this is where things can get a bit messy. The S section on the track, Peter just taking it nice and conservative, actually trying to just, as I said, I think he's just wanting to at least get a time on the board. A little bit of understeer for the Dutchman and completely goes out wide. I think he's going to have to back off of that lap because he didn't look like he sort of backed out of that one. So I'm hoping we may see the Dutchman come into the pits because yeah, I said that should not be a valid lap to say the least, especially with him going very wide out there. Through the stadium section now and towards the final corner. Let's have a look and see what Peter's going to do. It doesn't look as if he is backing out of that lap. It's 15.199. Nolan instantly takes up ahead of him on that and does a 14.989, and we're going to start to see a lot more laps on the board now. Old School with a 15.279, and a few other guys just coming across the line. Kunblai on his return, only a tenth behind Nolan, a 15.092. Emily Scream with a 15.222, and the other Ferrari just coming across the line who actually invalidated on his lap time, and a few other guys have invalidated on lap times. Of course, Paco I think is looking to go again on this lap. Creco may also be looking to go again on this lap as well, although saying that he has actually completely burnt down his ERS. Car Mentalist 16.0 on a set of the medium tyres, so very good, as decent lap time as I said, especially on a set of the mediums. Rudy going into 7th with a 21.601, as Zaldemar straight on to pole with a 14.914 slash 15.9 on the mediums. There's so many more times that are just coming in, Dan, but yeah, as I said, at the moment Zaldemar is the one that is sitting on top of that.
Yeah, we don't usually see him excelling, to quote his old name there, in qualifying sessions, but I'm expecting much quicker times still. I think we should see times much lower into the 114s later on in this session. I suspect is that NSX TDB has gone off there, and that's heading through that S section. Very, very technical part of the track. You can see, I was just on board with Coxey there, spared off to the right hand side of the track, and that is it in the session for the Alfa Romeo man. Of course, traditionally one of the top qualifiers in this division, a slew of pole positions throughout this year, but ultimately won't be the case tonight in NSX TDB. And in terms of the context of the Constructors' Championship especially, that is a huge moment for the Alfa Romeo driver. The Dutchman now forced into a start from the back of the grid.
Yeah, certainly will, and a lot of guys just now making their way into the pits. Half of the grid getting times on the board, half of the grid invalidating on their times, as someone just made a slight improvement. I believe that was actually Knuth. Second lap on the medium tyres and a 15.457 on those mediums. So the German trying to make a statement on those medium tyres, and like you said, yeah, I'm expecting those times to just plummet down. I know that a few guys can get in a very low 14s, and that's exactly what I'm expecting for a few of these guys tonight. I'm going to run on board with TTL Dylan. He's just starting his first flying lap now on the soft tyres in Aston Martin. I believe he might actually be taking a full-time seat very soon, possibly in the Alpine for the replacement, because I said I don't think we have actually got a replacement at the moment for it. So yeah, Dylan, hopefully we may see him next week in the Alpine. A little bit wide at turn 3, and again that's track limit as well, so need to make sure that you want to you know, you might have to back out of that lap as well. Being the steward in police, I think at this point tonight, Dan, I think we're going to be catching a lot of guys out in this qualifying session. But Dylan, purple sector 1, as I said, I think he may need to back out of that lap because he did go a little bit wide at the exit of turn 3. But now coming through the S section, keep on board with the Aston Martin driver. Keeps it basically flat out other than the exit of that S section there. DRS now wide open for the Aston Martin driver in purple sector 2, 55.807 altogether. Tiniest bit wide out coming in towards the stadium, and that has invalidated on his lap time. I wonder if he's going to finish this lap though, as you see him ride it through in the stadium section, down in the second, short shifting it up to third, into fourth. He is going to finish this lap, so let's have a look and see what time Dylan's going to put on the board. It would have been a 14.887, which would have put him on pole position.
Speaking of invalid laps to go on pole position, I was on board with QVR Maledictus. He had a minute invalidation heading through the S section. Didn't really gain him much time, but he went over the line and he did a 1:14.3, which is a massive lap from QVR Maledictus. So I'm treating that as something of a warning shot from the Portuguese driver. Keep an eye on the Alpine man. We've seen some of his qualifying credentials earlier in the season as well, so he could be very dangerous down the line as well. We're in a bit of a point now. We've got a lot of cars on the outlaps, and Dynamo up top at the moment then, but I think a lot of drivers that either didn't get their best lap in, have opted for the mediums as such for a couple of drivers, or just didn't, or just didn't set a lap time at all and validated. So I think that time from Zaudema at 1:14.9, but I think you can expect much more potential and much quicker times throughout the rest of the session from every single driver involved. These last 10 minutes should be very, very exciting.
They certainly will, and there's a few more guys now back out on a second lap around. Peter, as I said, going wide at the S's at the beginning, he's now on another lap for this session, so let's keep an eye out on him as he goes invalidated. As I was just riding on board of him, surrounded with another Dutchman of Kunblai. He is now coming up towards the end of sector 2, and what time is he down? He's on his time by about a 10.5, so this will put him just shy of Zaudema's pole time, but this sector 3 could be very crucial for the Dutchman. He can try and take that pole position away from his fellow Dutchman, shall I say, as Zaudema also now on another lap, but Kunblai around the final corner and up towards the line. It is on pole so far with a 14.823, and as I said, a lot more guys are going to be looking to try and challenge that one. Coxie, I think, is going to be the next one across the line, but he has unfortunately invalidated on his lap time, so everyone basically, or a lot of guys, shall I say, are out on their second runs for this as well. So let's keep an eye out and see who's going to be maybe going where as well. I think Car Mentalist, I believe, might be the next one. No, he won't. It will actually be Old School, but unfortunately he's also invalidated on his lap time. So it's just about trying to find who is the furthest one up. I believe it's actually going to be Matt Tibos. Again, unfortunately for him, he has also invalidated on his lap time. So a lot of guys on their second run seem to be struggling a lot more than they did on their first run. Zaudema might actually be that next one that's going to come across the line. Yeah, he is. Him and Car Mentalist just up in front in 9th position. Both just making their way up towards the line as really just got back in the session. But yeah, the McLaren comes in the pits. Zaudema, 14.460. He is not known for his qualifying, and yet he is storming these qualifying times tonight, Dan.
And it just shows you've got to keep it within the limits and fast, and Zaudema has done just that. Killer Blue though up to the line, just misses out. 300ths of a second. Now the session's really starting to heat up as we get further and further along and progress further. I just seen a bit of a glitch with the timings. I'm not sure what exactly has happened there. We did have someone else improving. That was Coxie, who did a 14.6 invalid earlier. Now a 14.6 valid. Creco, who is known for his qualifying pace, and now no one improves. Now, like I said, it's really heating up. 3 cars within just 300ths of a second, and Creco well within a 10th of the pole time as well. So the times are all coming flooding in. I think Old School is coming up to the line. He backs out of that lap, dives to the pit lane. But now you can see those times start to come down, and a few statements start to be made. But Zaudema still holding on to that pole position. We had an uncharacteristic pole from Car Mentalist last time out in Imola. Could we possibly see the same from Zaudema this week? Flying up front then, Rudy out of the session now, maybe a disconnection, but Zaudema looking really, really strong out there, Jack, and now someone has to put it all together all the way through the lap if they want to try and tackle that time.
They certainly will, and yeah, like you said, it's now just starting to come into the fact that people are now getting their laps on the board. A few guys obviously went out earlier, could not just get a lap, or couldn't hook one around this track, and as I said, it's so easy to invalidate. We're going to probably see quite a few penalties being picked up for tonight, and it's just whoever keeps it the cleanest, and at the moment, Zaudema is the one that's sitting on top. Like you said, it's an uncharacteristic pole position from Car Mentalist last week. We're now going to be we could be seeing the exact same thing tonight with Zaudema, and he was obviously looking to try and pick up his first win in the League of Europe for this season, and he told me as well this will be his first win since season 3 in Singapore. So this will be his first win since then, which is going to be that's mind-boggling that it's been that long since he's picked up a win. So we'll keep our eye out on the Dutchman and seeing if he can maybe pick up a win for this evening. But yeah, he's doing a very good job so far. He is currently up ahead of Ariel Nolan, as I've been disconnected for some strange reason. I can only apologise as to the reason why. I don't know why I've been disconnected, but I have. So do just bear with myself for 1 second, and I'll see if I can get ourselves back in the session very, very shortly.
Am I bringing it in?
Right, apologies for that, people. I don't know what is going on at the moment because I've joined back in the game and you probably can't hear any audio. That is actually what is happening. Obviously, Dan is still here and he can hear me perfectly fine and I can hear him perfectly fine. There's just no game audio. I can't do anything. I don't know what is going on. This is what I've just loaded back into and it's just showing me riding an Aston Martin. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I believe Dan has everything that's going on for us.
Yeah, certainly. Well, the session has just wrapped up. I'll run you through the results of what is possibly the closest qualifying grid I've ever seen with Miss. So it is Killer Blue on pole position from Peter, joining him on the front row. Then it is Packer and Zerdo second row. TTL Dylan from Maledictus. Then it is Ariel Coxey, TDG Knuth Championship leader in 8th. Then it's Nolan and Kriko that round out the top 10. Behind that is TTG Sebos, then Kumblai. Old School, Emily Scream, TDG Slash, Ario Carmentalist, Rudy is the last car to set a time, TDB who we saw crash out, and Hardy, the only cars not to set a time. This is so ridiculously close. Top 5 within half a tenth, top 9 within just under 2/10, and the top 12 within just over a quarter of a second. It is remarkably close between the entire field. And so that is what we have heading into the race. So we're just going to have to look to get into it. Jack, I'm not sure. I guess we'll have a look. You should hopefully return to normal as soon as we head into the race session now. It is very overcast. I'm going to check on you, Jack. Can you see everything just fine at this little screen of the pits?
I was about to say, I'm just staring at the pit lane. It looks like, I wouldn't say it looks overcast. It kind of looks a bit... well, sort of like a bluish sky, shall I say, at the moment. So, yeah, it says it's going to be starting in a few seconds. So, hopefully, once those 20 seconds are counted down, I'm hoping I can see it. If not, I think you might have to take over on the stream, and I'll just have to just do my best with everything that I can sort out as well. So, yeah, I'm hoping once those 10 seconds are done, we should be able to. I should be able to see everything as Dan's now disconnected. Or have I disconnected again?
No, yeah, I've seen Zeno out of the session as well.
No.
So I feel like this probably isn't going to go to plan in terms of the start.
I don't think it is
keeping an eye on
either.
the stream. No, because I'm keeping an eye on the stream, and you were right about the blue sky thing. It looks pretty clear for you, but for me it's just completely grey. Now we're just on the formation lap, and you're still staring at the Aston Martin, I see, on the stream.
I don't know what is going on at all, to be completely honest with yourself. I don't know if this is going to be like a lobby restart or what, but I really don't know what's going on. I have to quickly just wait for 1 second, because, yeah, even the host is lagged out, so... Classic Codemasters, eh?
Yeah, so I think that we may well get a lobby restart. I guess we'll just hang tight. I suppose I'll do my best to cover the start if it does indeed go ahead. We could just get stuck on the grid, as we sometimes do. Yeah, because we've had, obviously, Rudy with his constant joining and leaving the session all the way through. XL Gary has just pointed out we're not going to be restarting.
Okay, so you might have to go ahead and do the stream then, because I said I'm still just looking at an Aston Martin just going all the way around the track. I genuinely don't know what is going on with this, to be honest with you. I can see cars up ahead, but I think they're all I think they're all supposed to be like an AI. Well, every single one of them, pretty sure, are AI cars.
Okay, right. Well, I'm going to as Zaudima's car has just stopped on the track. I guess because I'll take a few minutes to set up the stream, so
yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I can't exactly expect, like, they're saying this is going ahead, but I don't see how this lobby is going to hold out. It doesn't seem to be working at all, so I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think
Zaunima doesn't even know what's happened. Zaunima doesn't even know what's happening. Like, I don't think it's shown up that he's disconnected. I have no idea what's happening. Anyway, we are going to get a race underway here. This is bizarre. This is truly bizarre. We'll just go ahead, I guess. So here we go now. The settings are glitching out. We do have the lights on, so we are going to get underway for the race. I'll do my best to cover it. We are now off the line in Mexico. Kelly Blue leads it off the line. Ed Peter gets a very good start alongside him. They're all spearing across the track. Looks like they are just going ahead as normal. There's no stopping this now. So now they're heading barreling towards the first corner on the track. It's Peter Packer's got a great run down the middle there. Kelly Blue sends it back around the outside. Will retake the lead as Packer slides out. Goes through the grass there. Again, I'm trying my best to cover this all I can then. But Kelly Blue leads Peter. Now Maledictus up to P3 as they run down towards it. Maledictus looking inside of Peter, heading into turn 4, gets squeezed onto the curb over on the inside as they run their way through 2x2, heading through that first sector. And yeah, well, I'm just trying my best. It's absolute chaos down there. Knuth, the championship leader, has spun, and they're 4 abreast almost with ghosting going on down there. I don't think. Can you still not see any of this track? That's
nothing
going
at all.
Okay, well, I guess I've done my best to cover the start, but I will actually start to get a stream set up now as best I can, because I think that's the only way we can salvage this night.
Yeah.
So
I can see that there was a car that was just completely stopped, but that's all I've got, to be honest with you. There was a car that was completely stopped, like just in the middle of the track. It was an Alfa Romeo, but I don't know if that was really anything to do with that.
Okay, well, Mark is just saying in the chat that he's just getting illegal overtakes left, right, and centre. There's a major problem with the lobby, as it turns out. So I don't see how this can continue.
No, I don't either. I think we're going to have to get a lobby restart. There is no way that we can actually do it. There's physically no way.
Okay. So are you still streaming?
Yes, yeah. So I'm still going at the moment. I'm waiting to just try and get back into this ASAP. So apologies for this, everyone. I genuinely don't know what is going. On. I know you can't see anything at the moment because everything is glitched. If you haven't been listening, so we might have to just go with quality results if anybody has like the actual qualifying results.
Yeah, well, the thing is, right, the majority of the grid are still racing. Obviously, we have major lobby issues. It seems unlikely. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. I'll try and get a stream set up. So now it looks as though the people that that aren't racing normally are all calling for a restart, which I suppose isn't surprising. But to me, it just doesn't seem feasible. It doesn't really seem raceable. So I guess we're just waiting for an official call because I'm setting up a stream and because you can't really see anything.
Yeah.
We don't really know if it's currently getting restarted, and it's because these guys are racing. It's quite hard for them to see if we are restarting. So very bizarre. I'm terribly sorry for this because this is this isn't great. We'll just say that much. Certainly not.
Because everyone in here is also asking if we are going to be restarting. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like Car Mentalist is racing, so Gary's obviously not racing tonight, so it is just myself. The thing is, if the majority are racing and everyone, is there anyone that's got an illegal overtakes just for a random yellow flag being out when there shouldn't have been?
Well, I'm not sure. Currently, I can't watch the race.
Car Mentalist is just like that now as well.
It's just lagged out. Yeah. So I think we'll probably get a restart. Yeah, okay, so we're just going to call that now. So I suppose with that, if we can get an actual lobby set up, then you can just keep the stream going if that's okay?
Yep, that's perfectly fine by me. So, yeah, apologies about this, everyone. I don't know if that was just because of Rooney just sort of constantly getting in and out and just couldn't join, or what. I don't know what was going on. Zadama ended up lagging out, and just the whole lobby just completely broke. So, yeah. Apologies for that, everyone. Well, hopefully we should be restarting it just from where the quality results were, and I'm hoping someone's going to be able to get the quality results. But you said, who was it that was on pole position again? Sorry.
So I believe, I believe it was Keller Blue that was on pole. I'll just have a quick gander to. We can't because of the lack of a stream from you, we can't see the. I think we'll probably just have to take a stream from one of the drivers. So we'll have
That's
a
what I
little
was hoping
look
I can
at
try and
that.
find. Annoyingly, I can't
Yeah.
find one.
So I have a stream from Packer, but I don't think he looks any lower than P14. So I have the top 14 in terms of positions. It was Killer Blue on pole, then Peter, then Packer, and so on. But yeah, we need to. Hopefully, we have someone that actually showed the entire grid. So we'll just have a look. Sorry, there's just some crap being posted in the chat right now. But we'll just try and get this going as soon as we can. If we can just get as I've just been invited to the lobby, so yeah, we should just start to get this back going. Whoever has the full quality results, if you are watching this, do try and send it to XL Zaudema if you have him on Discord, just so he can fire in the grid as soon as we can. So we could eventually get this going again, because this is obviously not what we want to see in terms of just general functionality in the division. We have lost about 20 minutes already, so terribly sorry for that, as I'm taking an age to join the session. I'm not exactly sure why, but I've just pressed join session and it's still loading. I hope this eventually works, because I really can't be doing with this right now as we look forward. Yeah, I'm still stuck at the joining session screen.
Oh, it's one problem after another, isn't it? It really seems to be one problem after another. Oh,
Hang on, let me try and get this. I'll probably have to restart my game as well. And then hang on, I'll try and maneuver my way into the lobby. So as the grid's just trying to work out the the order from outside the top 14. I think there we go. We now have something to work with, so we should be absolutely fine. I'm going to do my best to get myself into the lobby, and hopefully it actually works this time. And hopefully within a reasonable amount of time we should be able to get back into this. Terribly sorry everyone, but sometimes with Codemasters nothing is going to run smoothly.
No, it tends to not to for some reason. So in case you guys were wondering, as I said, I know Daka did say it, but for the qualifying session, Killer Blue was the one that did put it on pole position, and Peter in second, Packer in third, and Zaudema in fourth. You were right, it is extremely close with all of these qualifying times. Let's see if I can get an exact one for Killer Blue, because it looks very fuzzy, but it looks as if it was a 1:14.1 something I think he put on pole. Peter did a 14.319, Packer a 14.334, Zaudema a 14.349, TTL Dylan with a 14.361, and Maledictus with a 14.380. So it's all extremely close when it comes to the actual qualifying. Just those top 7 alone, top 6 alone were all so close. Coxie was 7th with a 14.449. Canoof, our championship leader, was 8th with a 14.456. Nolan in 9th with a 14.483, and Creco in 10th with a 14.535. Matt Tiros was 11th with a 14.549. Kunblai in 12th with a 14.587. Old School 13th with a 14.889. Sorry. Scream in 14th with a 14.934. Slash in 15th with a 15.676. Carmentalist in 16th with a 16.081. Rudy in 17th with a 21.601. Didn't manage to get another lap on the board, because I think he was the one that kept on disconnecting and reconnecting as well. And then TDB and Hardy not getting a lap on the board together for the pair of them. So hopefully everyone can get in ASAP as well. And hopefully we can get this one straight underway quick time.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for an invite from Zaudema at the moment. Can you throw one my way? I should have asked that anyway. Thanks very much, mate.
But no, that's fine.
So we should, yeah, of course.
It's I really don't know how this is going to play out. As you said, that grid was so close. And then obviously what happened at the start as well, because as I said, it was what's it called? didn't, or who actually got like the best getaway out of those top guys anyway when you was watching it?
So Peter got the best initial getaway, but Kelly Blue sent it back around the outside of turns 1 and 2. Actually, got the move done in the end. I'm now looking to try and get back in now. Hopefully, please, let's make this work so we can eventually get going. I'm in the loading session screen. Hopefully, it actually follows through this time. Still waiting. Oh no. No, we're in. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, so we're waiting on 2 more drivers, I believe, to get things going again. So yeah, that's quite hard to fill the time sometimes when you have a bit of nothing like this. But we should get going. Of course, it does actually have a stroke of good luck actually for both of our championship contenders. Because in the first lap of both those races, Knuth got spun around and Packer had to cut across turn 3 and lost a bunch of places. So they've actually managed to rescue themselves somewhat and actually have a much better chance going forward. But they've got to try and make this count. Now, I don't think we have any verifiable source of as to what tyres everyone was on outside of the top 10. So I think we may well have to trust in the drivers to actually make the same call. Hopefully it does all translate, and obviously for all the guys inside the top 10 we hope that they have opted for those soft compound of tyres. We're up to 18 now in the lobby. I think we should be looking for 19. Who are we missing? I think we may well be missing Rudy, who had a lot of connection issues anyway, so I don't think he is going to be coming back to it. So we should have 18 drivers eventually. Zaudem, I'm sure, is doing a great job of getting that grid sorted out for the race proper, and we can get this back underway. But yeah, we've got a very exciting prospect ahead of us, and hopefully this time a smooth race that we can both cover, and we can actually get it going and get, well, I'm sure it'll be a cracking D2 race underway again.
Yeah, hopefully we should be able to get something straight underway. But yeah, it looks as if everyone is now back in. I think Rudy, as you said, is not going to be joining us back again once again. So we've got all the grid set up. Dardama has just given me confirmation of that. And yeah, as I said, this is hopefully we won't have any more. We won't be running into any more issues. Let's just give the go ahead, and then hopefully we can get this one straight back underway.
Yeah, well, I've been through a few glitched lobbies in my time. I think you probably have as well. But this has been one of the oddest cases, because usually it's just a race not getting underway. This race actually started, but just about everything else went wrong in the lobby. Of course, we won't have a qualifying session to warm these guys up. They are now just going to have to throw themselves straight into a Grand Prix. So it's going to be very, very exciting to see how this is going to unfold. And what was an incredibly close grid. Now, of course, all starting with completely fresh tyres, so it does help those guys inside the top 10. I think in terms of strategies now, a one-stop should be fairly simple without quali laps on them. So it should be a soft to medium strategy, to be honest, for most of the drivers out there. But now we look towards it. We're loading ourselves into the race, so we should be able to get going very shortly. Again, very sorry for the delay. Thank you all, all you that have stuck around. Thank you very much for your patience. You will now be rewarded with a Grand Prix in front of you, as long as this lobby itself actually runs smoothly. So now we load ourselves in and look towards it. The conditions, I imagine, will be replicated. It looks a bit brighter than it did earlier for me, but it probably looks about the same for you, given your issues earlier. But nevertheless, we will now get into it. 18 drivers now ready to take on this track. Should be absolutely brilliant stuff then. For the fourth to last round of the season, at last, Jack, we should finally just about be getting underway.
Yeah, so apologies about that delay, everyone. As I said, it's just Codemasters things, I suppose. As soon as one glitch happens, it seems to just happen. Every other glitch just seems to then come into play. It wouldn't have surprised me if Desync would have made the return back just from that as well. So yeah, hopefully we can get this one straight underway. As you said, 5 seconds until they just need to pick their setups and their strategies, and then we should just be able to get this straight underway. Let's have a look. Am I going to be able to see everything? Hallelujah, we can see everything. So yeah, thank you to everyone that's managed to get themselves back in, and just making sure I got sound. I do have some sound, so that's very good. But yeah, let's have a look. So everyone, let's have a look at the tyre wise. So Matt Tibos outside of the top 10 is on the softs with Old School, Commentalist and TDB all on a set of the softs, and then Kunblai, Scream, Slash and Hardy are on a set of the medium. So it's a bit of an even split outside of the top 10. Yeah. I don't know if that's exactly what the tyres were before, but that, yeah, as I said, that's what just well, half of that being there. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, the 4 drivers on softs are 4 drivers that have been in the league for a very long time, so I have faith in them that they are on the tyres that they were on earlier. Kublai, Emily, Scream, Slash and Hardy opting for those medium compound of tyres. So 36 laps in front of us will probably be quite a long race in terms of the time, but nevertheless we will look to get into it. Killer Blue and Peter now, they had a battle raging all the way down into T1, so we'll see how this one is going to unfold. Of course, such a long run, getting off the line quickly is critical to try and propel yourself through and maintain that lead. But Killer Blue and Peter will both be under threat. The guys in the second row will be looking to mount that challenge as well. Packer in P3 will be happy. His championship rival Knuth way down in P8 needs a good start to try and work his way back into this race. But of course, we have 36 laps to pull that off as Killer Blue now dragging them round to the line. Peter alongside him on the front row as they roll themselves towards the grid. I'll hand it back over to you, Jack, just before the start. Killer Blue, Peter, the front row, but which out of this grid of 18 drivers is going to propel themselves into turn 1 first and lead the way through the end of this 36 lap Grand Prix? Should be a cracker. Let's get into it.
Given a second opportunity for the guys that made that mistake. You said Knuth and you said Packer did not have a good start in that first lobby, whether that was due to any sort of glitches or what. They've now got the second opportunity to try and make those places back up. So now we are going to be getting this second restart straight underway. Here comes the first, the second, the third, the fourth and the 5 red lights for round number 14 of season 6 of the League of Europe, and it's lights out and away we go. And it looks like Peter once again getting a better start of the 2 at the front. Packer trying to slot him right behind the Dutchman as well, so he's going to try and just drag along past Killer Blue, but it looks like Packer's going to try and go 3 wide. A little bit of contact between the pair of them as well. Peter will be in the lead of this race, but Packer's going to try and go around the outside. 4 wide going into turn 1, just behind them all as well. Zardama just going to be pinched in between. There's 3 wide coming through turn 3 and Zardama's round. Zardama has gone around. Luckily he ghosted. I don't think he got any wing damage from that because it was his back left tyre, but that's now, well, that's completely taken him out of the race. Dylan down into 17th as well, and a lot of position changes going on down the field. TDB is already up into 8th, past Matt Tibos. I think he was the one that might have just completely sent that up the inside of everybody and managed to keep his nose clean out of all of that as well. So TDB from 17th on the grid is already up into 8th at the very start. Packer cannot get past Peter, so Peter, the Dutchman, manages to take the lead of this race, and he's now leading the American. The guy's second in the championship, with Killer Blue in third, dropping 2 positions at the start. Maledictus up into 4th, and Knuth up into 5th. It's going to start to get a little bit spicier towards the top end of this field, Dan.
And even spicier, I think, further down. It's been chaos. We saw Zenoma going around. Don't think that was really anyone's fault. It just got too tight down there, really, as it often does. It's so easy to bunch up throughout the start of the race, the start of the lap. But now we head on to the second lap of 36, and certainly in 4th place, Maledictus under pressure. Knuth is at a flying start, now running towards the outside to turn 1. Can he clear him before they reach the apex? I don't think he's going to. Can he outbreak him around the outside? It's Maledictus, it's Knuth trying to hang it right around the outside there. Maledictus trying to hold on. He squeezes the Alfa Romeo to the inside of T2 and will maintain the place, but a good exit from Knuth, and he's attacking again towards turn 4. Goes outside now, trying to get it done on the brakes then. He's getting squeezed by the Alpine, has to delay his turn, and the Maledictus again will just about hold on to the place. Behind TDB also had a look at Ariel Nolan, but the move didn't quite come through, so they all filter through into line as it stands throughout the rest of the lap. Looks like they're all just filtering the way through in tandem, but up at the front, Peter has stolen the march at the front, but Packer going right there with him from Killer Blue. But it looks like the man in P4, Maledictus, struggling a bit to the first lap, and with Knuth attacking it, gives that opportunity for the top 3 to start to propel themselves clear of the rest of the field.
Yeah, this is, I think it's becoming one of those occurrences now where it's like the top 3 or the top 4 usually start to pull away from everybody else behind. Maledictus has managed to claw his way back into DRS, however, but with it being activated on this lap as they pass the line now, there won't actually be any DRS up until just after the S section, shall I say, because that little small DRS zone there where you can see Carmental is coming through as he actually made a very early pit stop. Matt Tibos has also made his way into the pits as Zadama setting the fastest lap of the race after being spun around on turn number 3. But yeah, Zadama's just trying to sort of claw his way back into it, as well as TDB getting a move done on Nolan coming in towards turn 1. TDB, the Dutchman, now up into 7th from 17th on the grid. He is on an absolute charge. It's only lap 3, and if he can keep on doing that, then that's going to make that interesting. And Dylan, a little bit further down, has gone around at the exit of turn 3. It looks as if his full front wing is still there, as Slash has actually made a move on Scream and Scream, and Slash still both side by side. Slash trying to go around the outside of turn 5 and gets that move back underway. So now Slash manages to keep up in front of Scream, and in fact that even let Creeko sneak past his teammate in the end as well. So the two MLE drivers just having a little bit of a change of position because the Slash sort of just, you know, making sure that he maintains that position from that Ferrari down in 12th position. But yeah, a lot of even spreadings up at the end of the field. Dylan has unfortunately gone around once again down in 16th position. But yeah, Peter, he's done well to hold on to that lead so far, but I feel like that's going to change any second now, Dan.
Yeah, Packer and Peter, I think we'll want to work together here though, because Killer Blue struggling a little bit on this lap to keep the DRS, but he does have more ERS than these guys to try and claw his way back in. He does have that drag reduction. The rear wing is open for all of the top 8 there. They managed to stick in contact, and so now they will look to duel away further up the field. Dylan has gone round for a 3rd time on the 2nd lap then. That's heading out the S section. He's had a nightmare. Creeko has eased past Slash into P10. So you can see the DRS already beginning to breed some overtakes down there at the moment as Slash picks up a very early penalty. He's attacking Creeko now back. Creeko though, the Ferrari, that DRS powers him clear. You can see how strong that double detection point is for the Ferrari, and he gets himself through to 10th position on the road. But at the moment though, it is Peter and it is Packer up at the front then, as Dylan, his nightmare continues with a penalty for speeding and actually out of the race altogether now. But Peter leads Packer all the way through now, but Killer Blue is the one that needs to try and up it. He's burnt some battery on this lap, but even still he needs to find a few tenths, otherwise that DRS could be slipping away, and that's so important if you want to try and keep with the pace of the leaders. Peter is flying and Killer Blue struggling to live with it.
Yeah, he certainly is, and Maledictus is now all over the back of him. Yeah, Killer Blue not gotten DRS to Packer, so he's now going to be coming under threat from another QVR driver who's trying to chase one down. He's now going to be under threat from the Portuguese QVR driver of Maledictus. I believe Maledictus has one podium to his name earlier on in the season, very early on in the season. In fact, 2nd race of the season, he was in 2nd, and he now goes back onto the podium. So Maledictus now up into 3rd position, up ahead of Killer Blue, and not only that, he will have the DRS coming out of here as well, as Packer couldn't find a way past Peter towards the top end of the grid, and Maledictus I think is actually the quickest one out of these top 5 at the moment, because he is on a charge and is now back within the DRS of those top 2 guys. Killer Blue, just unfortunately, I think his tyres are already starting to overheat on the 5th lap, because he just can't seem to just get the turn in properly in comparison to these guys up in the top 3.
Yeah, very easy to overstretch and overstress the tyres there. Killer Blue struggling for grip. I don't imagine he's struggling for outright pace. I mean, as Peter, the race leader, gets a penalty early, as does Coxie. You can see how easy it is to go beyond those white lines, and that could be one of the main differentiators in this race. Could make a lot of difference. You can see the amount of penalties that have already been picked up, and we're just about 5 laps into the race. This is extraordinary. But over the line, Peter maintains that lead. Packer actually got past him at the start of the lap, but then made a mistake at a turn 3, and that allowed the AlphaTauri to cruise on back through to the racing. It's also allowed the rest of this 8-car train to get within it, but I think Nolan may be at risk of getting detached. Packer getting close but not thinking about the move just yet. Looks like these guys all just filtering into line now, of course, into that classic DRS train where really it's hard to overtake unless you're in 2nd place, which I think is what you're going to be seeing here. Packer down the left hand side will cruise through to the lead of the race. He does have to keep a defensive line, so that's why he's slowing both of them down a slight amount. But nevertheless, Packer through to the lead, and now Peter down to the second. But Maledictus, I agree, he's showing tremendous pace, and he's up behind the AlphaTauri already. The Alpine flying early on in the race. He's looked after those tyres well, and now he is looking to try and attack on the rear wing of the AlphaTauris. Packer now finally at the front, beginning to establish that gap. Peter is struggling, and Packer now looking to take advantage.
Yeah, these top 7 all now within that DRS train. Nolan, unfortunately, has just sort of been left behind that a bit. He's now 1.6 seconds behind TDB. Again, TDB, I'll reiterate that, started down in 17th position. In 6 laps, he's up to 7th. So he's now on the back end of this DRS train, and he's got Nolan only 1.5 seconds behind. Old school 3 seconds behind Nolan, so Nolan a little bit no man's land at the moment, just trying to sort of catch back up to that DRS train. Of course, through the corners, it might be the very easiest place that he can catch it back up. Just in the straights, it's going to be left for absolute dust because of it. But yeah, Packer got a very nice getaway out of that final corner. Peter, I don't think he's going to be close enough to get any sort of move done. In fact, the Dutchman closes his DRS because you could see he was closing up quite significantly. But you got to remember, there is another QVR driver coming up behind him. Maledictus is all over the back of Peter now, but Peter, DRS now wide open again for the Dutchman. I don't think he's going to be close enough to getting any sort of move done going in towards turn number 4, so he's just going to have to play it right and wait. Once again, I'd say the second sector of Mexico it's more of a patience game. You don't want to be trying to attempt an overtake in that portion of the track. Otherwise, you're just going to be completely left, and well, as I said, everyone will just sort of get away from yourself. So yeah, Packer doing a very stellar job at the moment. Peter now starting to drop back through these S's. I think Peter might actually be on a pad, so that could be a bit of an explanation as to why. But Maledictus, look how much he's closing up to the back of Peter once again. Peter now on the cusp of losing that DRS. I think that little DRS drag there helped him a little bit just to claw it back in from the QVR driver, but yeah, as I said, he's under threat from another one very, very close behind, and it is just one massive DRS train in these top 7, Dan. Not really much going on further down the field. I know Scream is 8 tenths behind Slash, who's also on a set of their mediums, but Slash has that 3-second time penalty, so I don't think Scream's going to try and go for anything sort of remotely quick or go for any sort of move anytime soon. Just going to try and play his cards right as well. But yeah, Peter at the moment just stuck behind QVR Packer. We might see a move go down into turn 4 though.
Yeah, but of course, these guys don't want to lose too much time by battling, because if you go side by side too much, it just allows the rest of the field to claw their way through. We said that Killer Blue was struggling, but he looks fairly solid in terms of the battery, so I think he had a bit of a rut, but now he's got himself resettled down, and he's got that battery to boot. It's further down the field. Coxey is under attack from TDB, who runs off the track then, further in behind him, so I'm not exactly sure. I didn't catch the whole battle there, but TDB did have a run at Coxey, and it's just threatening Aston Martin, who I think is having a bit of a laxing issue. His car jumping around quite a lot, at least on my screen. He's gone completely off the track, maybe, and then he just flags back in front. I'm not sure if you're seeing the same, Jack, but I think Coxey's connection may not quite be at its best.
Yeah, I did just see that as well. Coxey, I'm not too sure what's obviously going on with his connection. Hopefully that can get sort of ASAP, but for me, he is still within this DRS train up ahead of TDB. That timing not sort of coming down. I'm hoping that's not another glitch that's going on with this lobby, but yeah, Coxey's just doing well at the moment, running in 6th position, just keeping on the back of this little train. As Hardy, another 3-second time penalty for the XL driver. I think that's now 9 seconds in the space of 9 laps. It's basically 1 warning per lap at the moment, which Hardy has gotten, so hopefully he can try and pick up his antics. Otherwise he could be disqualified by the end of the session if he gets 36 warnings. But yeah, Peter all over the back of Packer now, and a lot closer than what he was on the last lap. And once again, I don't think he's going to try and go for anything. He knows that another QVR driver's right behind him. He wants to try and play this right, and I'll tell you what, I get the feeling we could be seeing a few guys make their way into the pits this lap. I mean, the strategies around here, we didn't actually talk about it at the beginning. It is a possible 2-stop, or if you're on the mediums, to go to the softs at the end, you can actually do a 1-stop. So the guys that are on a set of softs now, they could go for either another set of softs and then go mediums at the end, or they can go for a set of softs at the end and then mediums on their next stint. Packer in front though, picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, so it's now Ian Stevens at the front between those two, but now Maledictus is going to be our net race leader. Hardy once again, another 3-second time penalty. Just in this lap alone, he's picked up 3 warnings, so I think we might be seeing a disqualification coming soon for the XL driver. Hopefully not, but I suppose you never know.
Peter
Yeah,
boxing.
Peter into the pits. I said we may see a few more guys pit. Peter is the only one out of those top 7 that has made his way into the pit. So he's going for a bit of an undercut on the rest of the guys. It means Maledictus, he's going to be behind his fellow QVR driver by about 1.5 seconds. However, just from the DRS alone, he's managed to gain that time back as if Peter basically just wasn't there. And so Maledictus is now closed up to the back of QVR Packer, and I'm assuming we're going to see a lot more of these soft guys in at the end of this lap. TDB 1.6 seconds behind Ariel Coxey now as well, as a little bit further down the field, Slash and Scream both got in there for that P9. In fact, there's a bit of a DRS train here. Zardamer has managed to claw his way back into this, and hopefully we'll be able to see the XL driver try and make some manoeuvres. But Scream, DRS now wide open for him. Slash, you can see that red flashing out on the back of his car, looking on board with Zardamer. Scream trying to go down the inside and have the outside for turn 5. Packer, another 3-second time penalty. So 6 seconds for the American now, and this is going to completely cost him to try and get this win for tonight. I think at the moment the best he's going to get now is going to be about P5 if no one else picks up penalties.
Yeah, but I think we are going to see penalties from pretty much every driver in this race. It's relentless. I can't believe it. Both Packer and Hardy Slash now picks up a penalty. All these guys picking up so many penalties. It's so difficult to avoid round here, I suppose. Now the leaders start to pile into the pit lead. It is the Packer, Maledictus, Killer Blue. Knuth stays out then. The rest of the train, though, have come in. So Knuth has elected to keep that going. Killer Blue opting for the hard tyres. Mediums for Maledictus, mediums for Packer, and hards for Coxey and Nolan. Now, I do think it is possible to get the mediums to the end. It is very difficult, though, so let's see how it's going to unfold now. Out of the pit lane they come. Now, where is Peter? There he is. He is going to grab the undercut, I think, on Packer. They are going to be almost side by side, but Peter is going to clear him before turn 1, so he now takes over the race lead. And another penalty for Hardy. This is quite unbelievable. We're at 10.5 laps in 15 seconds now for the Alpha Tower. His teammate is just behind him on the track. Emily Scream still holding up a bit of a DRS train. The DRS train for the lead has still held up, but interestingly, that split of strategies, you had to say Killer Blue and Coxey going against the grain. The rest of the drivers here all opting for the yellow wall tyres and banking, I imagine, on them reaching the end.
I'll tell you what, someone did this in Division 3. Rickerick, he did this in Division 3, and it almost paid dividends for him, as there's been a yellow flag. Kumbly out in front at the S section is out, and there's a safety car, so there's a full course safety car.
Word.
So these drivers probably would have wished that this had happened on that last lap, but that's going to allow Knuth and Old School to make their pit stops, and they should come out theoretically around, if not in front of that top grid, or out of the top guys that had already pit.
Yeah, that is played perfectly into their hands. Knuth goes for mediums. As we saw in those races at the start in USA and Spain, the safety car could not have been timed any better. Now watch here. Knuth emerges in the lead of the race, several seconds in front. Of course, that lead will be cut out, but now he has Peter and Packer behind him. Both of them have penalties, so Knuth now realistically just has to try and hold on. You can see the mix of strategies again coming through here. Nolan has come out on hards, and then you've got Old School, mediums, Emily Scream on soft, hards for Slash, mediums for Quico, Hardy on mediums, on hard, sorry, and then we have Zerma, Tebos. Tebos has come into the pit lane, as is Carmentalist. After that, Coxey and TDB were swapping places up in front during the safety car, but now Knuth to the race lead. Kumbly out of it, which is big news in the Constructors' Championship, as well as Alfa Romeo benefit with Knuth, who now goes to the race lead. To be honest, the Alfa Romeo driver, I think this is his world and we're all just living in it. That could not have been timed any better. And now he is in complete command of this race. If he gets the restart right, which can be quite tricky in terms of the run into turn 1, but if he times it right, he can catapult himself further up the front, and Peter now is going to have to react. So Knuth now has been given a lifeline. Can he make it count, though? Well, there's still an awful long way to go in this race.
I can't believe this has happened once again. He's just been completely gifted with that. So Knuth, with staying out 1 lap longer, he's managed to make his way now into the lead of the race. Old School, by the way, has come out in 9th behind Nolan, who's on a set of the hards. He's also got Coxey and he's got Killer Blue up in front on those set of hards. Of course, they're going to try and go to the end of the race on those. But to be honest with you, the guys that are on the mediums, they theoretically could try and take these mediums to the end of the race if they're quite good on their tyre wear. I don't see that they will, but there is that opportunity for them to do that. it's just going to be very difficult for them towards the end. Obviously, I think the 2-stop is going to be a bit quicker for them. But yeah, Scream, the only one going on a set of the soft tyres, makes that very interesting, because that means he's going to go for a set of the mediums at the end of this race. There's no way he can take those softs to the end of the race. So I really don't know how this is going to play out, to be honest with you. Scream could be a little bit of a dark horse for this one, because he's on those soft tyres. He can make his way through that group. If he can get past a few of these guys in this group up in ahead, especially the guys that are on a set of the hards, Scream has that outside chance, to be honest with you, before getting on the podium for tonight, especially with the penalties in front.
It will be difficult, but we will see. He's certainly going to be looking to make ground as soon as we get underway from this restart. So Knuth will guide them along. Peter, who of course, remember his reaction time at the start, it was brilliant, and that's how he got into the lead. Now he needs a perfect reaction time to make sure TDG Knuth does not get away. Knuth will have a few laps before DRS is activated to try and get in front, but Peter has a lot of pace on hand tonight as well, so it's going to be very, very intriguing to see how this will play out. Of course, the penalties will come into play, and another penalty for Hardy.
Goodness.
He's come together with Krico. Those two have crashed under safety car conditions, and now Hardy, 13 laps into the race with 20 seconds of penalties. I'll hand it back over to you, Jack, though, because now as Knuth begins to back up the pack, safety cars in this lap, and the Alfa Romeo will look to try and get things underway. When will they put the hammer down?
I wonder where Coxey for some reason has ghosted and going straight through everyone. In fact, he's now just sort of dropping back. I don't know what's going on with Coxey, but he's just going to slot back in behind Killer Blue. But yeah, Knuth now gone. Peter had a little bit of a wobble coming out of that final corner, so he had a decent reaction time.
Oh, Cox!
Oh, what's going on?
Oh, sorry. It's his lag as Peter gets a penalty, Packer gets a penalty. These are for overtaking, I imagine, Coxey's car. Hardy now out of the race. These guys all be given penalties, I imagine, because of Coxey. His internet connection, I think, is causing havoc. The reason I reacted is because
TDB
dropped it. TDB comes together with Killer Blue and clips Nolan. It's damage for the Alfa Romeo man, and now he slips down the order. Coxey now off the track completely. I think he is off the track now. This time is Scream now making ground on the inside. As is Old School, he's up to 7th. They are all over the place here. Yellows everywhere as it stands. So Hardy, Kumblai, Dillon out of the race. We now get back underway with Knuth, who I barely covered him, but he got away well, and now he's looking to try and get out of that DRS. Peter trying to get back within it. So Knuth leads Peter, Packer, these guys now with penalties, including Maledictus, but I imagine because they were, by the looks of things, down to Coxey's lag, I imagine all those should be able to get removed.
Yeah, I think so. TDB is really struggling now. He had that wing damage. He's trying to go defensive on Emily Krico. Not too sure why, because he's got that wing damage, so it's going to be difficult for him to try and go defensive on anyone. And now he is a complete sitting duck. Car Mentalist straight down the inside of him at the stadium section. He's going to have the outside, but TDB not going to try and give that one up. We're going to be seeing the NSX driver maybe make his way into the pits at this lap, and yeah, in he comes. So I don't know what happened there. Krico must have also picked up some sort of damage, because I saw him go straight into the back of him. But yeah, I don't know how that... I don't know how that happened, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, I think that was more just down to Coxey's lag. But yeah, Killer Blue and TDB both obviously went side by side. I think TDB almost shut the door on Killer Blue as he was going through it, as Coxey has retired from the session. A bit further down as well, Krico and TDB, as I said, both into the pits. So they're now basically needing to try and make some sort of grounds up. There's Scream and Old School going at it now in towards turn 4. Scream's going to break a lot later than what Old School is. Straight around the outside, the Ferrari driver now up into 7th. I said he has that outside chance, and he is proving that so far. He's got 2 hard runners up in front of him, Nolan and of Killer Blue, and then Killer Blue, look at that, 2.5 seconds he is behind the medium runners. So if Scream can dispose of these guys quick time, then Scream, as I said, he has that outside chance. Killer Blue went extremely wide at one of the S's, completely cuts the corner out of that one. I don't know what happened there, but Nolan now is going to get through on Killer Blue. I don't think Killer Blue should be keeping that position, because that was a bit dodgy from him. And yeah, straight around the outside, you can get that position done, although Nolan has to give that one up. There's still yellows going on in Sector 1. I don't know what is going on, because I thought Nolan had that move done at least. Old School having to give that one back as well. Oh, started ghosting behind. I don't know what is going on. I really hope it's not another lobby glitch. But yeah, Nolan now going to be under pressure from Scream coming up in towards turn number 1. Scream using, not even using that battery, but he's just got a lot more straight line speed in comparison to the relentless driver. Nolan trying to use a little bit of his ERS just to stay up ahead of the German. But is Scream going to break a lot later than what Nolan is? There's softs versus the hards into the back of Killer Blue. Goes Scream. I don't know if he picked up any damage. Nolan trying to keep that space down the inside. It does that very nicely as well. Scream, I don't don't know if he picked himself up any damage, because that was quite a hard hit into the back of Killer Blue, but he's going to go around the outside of Nolan coming in towards turn number 4, and I think Nolan's just going to have to give that one up. So now Scream up into 6th position, but I don't know if he picked himself up any damage from all of that.
This has been one of the strangest races I've ever commentated on. I'm just trying to look to see, as Packer gets another time penalty. Surely now this is dropping him at the very least out of the podium fight. Of course, disregarding the 5 seconds, he has 9 seconds of penalties, unbelievably. This early in the race for such a driver, you don't usually see that from him. Knuth has broken away completely, hardly been able to cover it because of all the action that's been going on, but he has gotten himself firmly out of that range, with all the cars behind him being penalised. Well, apart from Maledictus, if you look at the technicalities, Knuth is in full control of this race. Packer now attacking Peter, will get through on the inside with DRS, will cruise through into P2, and he's going to look to try and claw his way back up towards the race leader. Scream now will move past Killer Blue again with a Ferrari. Looks like, well, it doesn't look like he's been affected too badly by all the contact. He does get through nicely into P5, but a big gap now has opened up to the cars in front. Then it's the hard runners coming under attack as Knuth leads Packer, Peter, Maledictus. Those 4 so far clear now of the rest of the field. Knuth still holding the lead at this as it stands, with Packer and P2, Peter P3, Maledictus P4. Knuth will look to try and hold on to it. He's low on battery though. Packer trying to hunt him down. The top 2 in the championship now, the top 2 in the race. And as bizarre evening, we now head towards the halfway point, but Knuth at the moment, as Peter gets another penalty, the balance just shifts further and further towards the championship leader. And
Killer Blue also picking himself up a 3-second time penalty down in 6th as well, so that's now going to allow Nolan and Old School to jump up ahead of the Mercedes driver as well. So Killer, unfortunately, 3-second time penalty is now going to hinder him, unless Nolan and Old School pick up penalties as well. They will jump up ahead of the Mercedes driver. Packer, fastest lap of the race. He's 1.3 seconds now behind his title rival, and he needs to try and get that charge on. He's managed to gap Peter by about 1.2 seconds, or 1.5 seconds, shall I say, in the beginning of this lap. Maledictus now going to go straight down the inside of the Dutchman, and the QVR driver now back up into 3rd. And the thing is, that 5-second penalty, with all of that has happened, he can hopefully try and get that one removed. All the guys that got 5-second penalties, I'm sure will try and get that one removed, because as I said, I think that was just due to a bit of internet issues with Coxie. But yeah, Maledictus now up into 3rd, and well, technically a net 2nd position, because Packer up in front obviously had that 3-second time penalty that he picked up, or 2 3-second time penalties, shall I say. In fact, he has 3. I didn't realise he picked himself up 9 seconds of penalties, not just 6 seconds. So yeah, Packer is going to be under a lot of pressure from not only the guys that are behind him catching up to him of Maledictus, but of all the other guys that have yet to pick up time penalties. And speaking of that, Matt Tibos down in 12th position, another 3-second time penalty for him. That's now 9 seconds for the Mercedes driver. Only guys yet to pick up penalties, of course, are Knuth, Maledictus, subject to probably getting that one sorted out, Scream, Nolan, Old School, Zardama, and Carmentalist, as well as TDB as well. So if there's another safety car, that will massively benefit the rest of those guys.
As you say, there's one of the drivers gone. Emily Scream has picked himself up a 3-second penalty. Do we even bother with this anymore, Jack? This is just... I've never commentated on anything remotely like this race. It is completely bizarre. The top 4 now somewhat spread out. Knuth just controlling that gap. He doesn't need to push wholly. He can actually just let Packer get up towards him and just follow him through if need be. Of course, that does rest Maledictus still in contention. He's really the only other one that can challenge for the race win out there tonight. But in terms of Packer and Peter, they might still be able to get away with it because they have a monumental gap to everyone else, and I think those mediums should make the end of the race. The hard runners don't have the pace, and Scream Softs are not going to make it, and of course everyone else is just too far away, I think, so those guys might just about get away with it in time as long as they keep on pushing away. Knuth from Packer, 1.25 seconds. He's completely burned that battery. He needed to get that gap as Peter, who was a B2, has struggled greatly on the medium tyres. The man who led much of the opening stint is falling away here really in terms of pace, and just now slipping out of that DRS range of Maledictus. So now what was a bit of a train for the lead now is completely spread out, and now all of the top 4 just, well, now those gaps start to open, and really the big battle is stacking up behind Killer Blue and Noel, and the medium runners coming at the hard runners.
Oh, Slash having a bit of an off. Yeah, he goes off at the final corner, so he must have made some sort of mistake. I don't know if he just resets the track, but yeah, Slash going off there. Canoe picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. So, Maledictus is now technically, well, I was about to say it is now our race leader, but he's actually dropped out of that 3-second range from Canoe. So, Maledictus needs to try and push this a little bit more to try and get back within that 3-second range of Canoe. As I said, if he gets that 5-second time penalty removed as well, then the Portuguese driver, he could be taking, and I believe, don't quote me, I'm pretty sure this is right, this will be his first ever League of Europe win if he does this tonight. As Peter, another 3-second time penalty for the Dutchman.
Yeah, well, I think just on this lap, though, that gap has opened by just a little bit. Maledictus now at 3.4 seconds. He hasn't had a great lap this time around. So Knuth at the moment is clear. Packer, though, beginning to try and hunt him down. They're so even on pace, as is so often the case throughout this championship, as they make their way through now on to lap 21. So we're about 2/3 of the way, just under 2/3 through this race, as now it continues to progress. Still Killer Blue holding up Nolan. That's the big battle out there. The Red Bulls are right alongside each other on track. Zerma right behind Old School, as Nolan trying to follow that slipstream, trying to track Killer Blue down as they head up towards turn 1. He gets close but not near enough, as now Zerma will cruise past his teammate, probably team orders then. Old School backs off into P9. Carmentalist trailing. All these guys without penalties could end up going very strongly here in this race. In the final results, Nolan trying to attack Killer Blue. I think we'll just about be too far away for a move, but I think Carmentalist diving round the outside of Old School. Can he get it stopped and turned in? The Red Bull trying to hold on to it. Pinch on the inside, and Carmentalist sliding out. He holds on to it just a bit and will emerge back in behind. A feisty battle between those two. In the end, Carmentalist just holds on to the car. Old School just holds on to the place. But that could have got very, very nasty between the two. But they hold on to it. Zerma got through an Old School at the start of the lap. Carmentalist immediately tried to pounce on that. Couldn't quite get it done, but now Zerma through, the leading medium runner in this train, and now he's going to look to try and attack Nolan. The hard runners, Killer Blue and Nolan, doing all they can, but still the pack behind is closing in and looking for a way through. That
was the battle of the Division 3 protagonists from last season, and oh my goodness, are they giving us a bit of a treat. Old School versus Carmentalist. Of course, Carmentalist picking up that win last week. Old School being on the podium a few times in this season as well. Zardama now closing up to the back of the two hard runners, like you said, Dan. Nolan, though, he's now having to start burning a little bit more ERS, because I think he might try and go for some sort of move on Killer Blue. He's weaving a little bit. Not too sure why he was weaving, to be honest with you, but yeah, Nolan just sort of weaving out behind Killer Blue. I wonder if we're going to be seeing the McLaren trying to go for a move on the Mercedes now coming up towards turn 4. Killer Blue gets a very nice exit in comparison to Nolan, but Nolan has that DRS to play with. Killer Blue, is he going to try and go defensive on Nolan? No, he isn't, and now Nolan just has to back out of that one, so they're just holding up these medium runners. I think Nolan and Killer Blue both working together, as Zanama almost going into the back of the McLaren for this P7 as well, so the two Red Bulls are really on a charge, and same with the other McLaren of Carmentalist as well. All of those guys on a massive charge to try and get that move done, as Old School down in 9th. Another one now that has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Unfortunately for him, that's now going to drop him back behind Carmentalist, and it's only one position, but that's one position that he probably wouldn't have wanted to lose. Now Peter, though, he's caught back up to the back of Maledictus. I don't know what's happened to the Portuguese driver in the last few laps, but he just doesn't seem to be enjoying these mediums. And now Peter all over the back of him now, coming up in towards turn 1. He's got the DRS now wide open as Dutchman. Not going to be close enough to getting anything done at the moment, but coming in towards turn 4, you can see that red flashing light on the back of his car, and I'm pretty sure Peter can as well. He knows he can go for the move into turn 4. Maledictus won't have much of an answer as Nolan, there you go, move done on Killer Blue now for that 6th position, and he's now going to have Zardama close up to the back of him as well. And the only problem for Killer Blue is that he's not going to have any DRS. Carmentalist in 10th now picks up a 3-second time penalty, so another one that's got another time penalty. And here we go, Zardama now going to get the move done on Killer Blue. He's going to try and go around the outside. Killer Blue almost straight off swiping him into the grass. That was so close, but Zardama gets that move done. I thought that was going to be an Excel team rivalry going on between those two, but yeah, Zardama gets the move done on Killer Blue now, and Killer Blue just going to have to just try and stick with these guys. But yeah, Zardama now 8/10 behind Nolan. He's got the best chance he has now just to try and get ahead of Nolan and pull away from the rest of that group. He's already gained about 5 tenths just through the S's alone. But yeah, even further up ahead, Peter still can't seem to find a way past Maledictus. Knuth now 2 seconds up ahead of the American of QVR Packer. And this championship is now starting to lean a little bit further now towards Knuth. That gap from 15 points is now up to 22 points if it finishes the way it is at the moment, as Peter now going to go for the move on Maledictus. He used that ERS just to burn that up to get closer. He's now going to go down the inside of the Portuguese driver in towards turn 1, and with that DRS, very easy move for him. Zardama going to do the same on Nolan and gets that move done for 6th position as well. A lot of moves going on, a lot. It's just an absolute crazy race, Dan.
There's not really much else to say. Yeah, it has just been an absolutely crazy race all the way through, as we're now just about 2/3 of the way through, so we're now looking towards the last stretch of the race, if you will. I'm just looking, how are these penalties going to affect the overall order as it stands, because it is wild, wacky and wild through and through. Zyrma now at the front. Now he could, now, I'm not sure what you've just found out, Jack. What's going on?
I was just about to say, so the guys that are on the set of the mediums, I've just come to that realisation. They had that 5-second time penalty. They're going to have to pit again and serve those 5 seconds. So they won't be able to get them removed, unfortunately. So that's going to drop them back from the rest of the guys. It means that Zaldemar, I think, has got this outside chance, as well as Scream, to potentially take the win for tonight.
Well, it's old school and Killer Blue come together, and now Continental steps straight around the outside. Maledictus and Pierce swapping places again, but my oh my, that could have got very nasty down there. Old School is now attacking Keller again, going outside of turn 1 there. Can he get it done on the brakes? He's going to clear him before they even reach the corner, though. Through goes the Red Bull on the Mercedes, and now he's going to try and follow Continentalist through. Now, as for the guys at the front, I'm not sure actually if they want to go into the pits again. That's time banging the safety car, don't you forget, I think may just about do it, and they have to stay out realistically to preserve their chances in this Grand Prix. As Kriko is out, and that's on track heading towards the last bit, and a safety car is deployed unbelievably. Now they will have to serve the penalties without a doubt. Safety car deployed, and now it's all coming into play for XL Zerima, because now all these guys are going to have to come in, serve their penalties. Timbos gets a drive-through for speeding, and yet another twist in this bizarre race. And now, as they head to the pit lane, they have to pit, otherwise they get swapped for tyres. So in goes Knuth, in goes Packer, Maledictus and Peter, despite essentially losing, getting those penalties due to lag, they are going to have to serve them nevertheless. Now, everyone surely in the field is going to have to pit, so this levels the playing field, and if its train maintains to the end, then Zaudaba and Nolan could all of a sudden be thrust into the driving seat in this Mexican Grand Prix.
This is a massive and bizarre turn of events. Maledictus has actually come out of the pits already into 3rd, Peter into 4th, Scream into 5th. Zaldama has been held up by Nolan, so Nolan has gotten the jump on the XL driver. So Nolan's now technically, Maledictus is still going to be our net race leader, but Nolan has that outside chance of now getting himself on the podium, as well as Zaldama, the only guys yet to pick themselves up any penalties. I don't know if you want to check, if you want to have a check on the warnings of if any of those guys, how many they've got, or if we just want to keep it completely secret. It's entirely up to you, but yeah, Maledictus is the one that's going to be our net race leader once this safety car has come back. Once we get racing once again. It's all up to the Portuguese driver and all up to Nolan and Zaldama. If they make any mistakes whatsoever, then that's going to be their podium chances gone just in a matter of seconds. But at the moment, the Portuguese driver of Maledictus could be looking for his first win in the League of Europe.
That would be some story. Now, just to confirm though, I will disclose the warnings at this stage in the race. So, Maledictus, 2 warnings. Nolan, 2 warnings. Zaudama, 1 warning. So, it's sketchy, especially for Maledictus and Nolan, and the nerves you can imagine, because they know the opportunity that they now have. As I'm not sure what you've noted out there on track, Jack.
That was a bit of desync going on between Scream and Nolan. I think I just seen the 2 cars doing a bit of PG-18 action out on the track, so hopefully that doesn't affect anything coming back into the beginning of the race. But yeah, Nolan and Scream, a little bit of desync between the pair of them. Hopefully there's nothing that we need to actually worry about, and it was just a little one-off from there. But yeah, as I said, Maledictus is in that prime position. Nolan is also in that prime position with Zadama. The only thing is, QVR Maledictus and Ariel Nolan have 2 warnings to their name. This could be their best shots. None of these guys have gotten a win this season yet either. This will be their best shot of getting a win for this season, and I believe this will actually also be Ariel Nolan's, who potentially could be taking his first win. If Maledictus picks up a penalty and he doesn't, I think Nolan has that chance of picking up a win as well.
Well, Nolan does have race victories in the league, of course. I think it was back in Season 4, in Division 4, but definitely not in D2. So the opportunities are endless. Zaudema hasn't won a race, I think you said, since Season 3 in Singapore as a whole. So there's opportunities for all of these guys. TDB, don't forget, he's in contention now in this race. He was out of it earlier, but now he is without a penalty, and we know the raw pace that he has to try and work his way through. He's in this as well. I'll have a quick check of his warnings as well. The answer, 2 warnings. So you see the attention for all of these guys, and the tension now continues to mount because the safety car is in this lap for the second time in the race. Knuth will control it with his championship rival Packer, who you can imagine is in anguish at these safety cars. They've both cost him in this race, but now Knuth controlling it. When will he go? Will he go at the same time? Can Packer react as we look to get going for the last 9 laps of this Mexican Grand Prix?
So let's have a look and see where the German's going to go. Is he going to go at the same point as what he did before? He's gone just before the final corner, and now Packer, he's read that one perfectly as well. TDB, you were just saying it, and he's picked up that final 3-second time penalty. We're now back underway, and Knuth just weaving to break that slipstream from Packer, but it hasn't worked out. In fact, Maledictus, I think, got the best restart out of everyone, and saying that, old school all over the back of Slash as well, down further in the field. But yeah, Maledictus getting that best restart that he possibly could, and he is, as I said, he's still on for that chance of taking the win for tonight. He just needs to make sure he doesn't pick himself up a 3rd warning slash another 3-second time penalty for him down in 9th position. So there's so many penalties that have gone on in this race, and everyone is on that same compound of tyre now as well. So it is all even game. Carmentalist and Old School both going at it. Old School trying to hold it down the inside, and Carmentalist just swooping around the outside and having the inside for that second part of the chicane. So Old School now down into 11th position. He's got TDB all over the back of him as well, but Carmentalist now managed to get himself up into 10th and chasing down TTG Slash. He has less penalties than him, so at least they will jump him on penalties, but I know he wants to try and get that on track. And even further up the field, Maledictus, he's already starting to lose touch from Packer and Knuth. Now almost out of that 1-second gap between those top 2 guys. Maledictus, you need to do more, bud. If you want to try and take your first win in the League of Europe, you need to try and keep up with your fellow QVR counterpart. Otherwise, that will just be win completely gone for himself. But yeah, Dan, I think we're in for a very, very tasty 7 last laps.
Certainly, and I'm still keeping track as well on the guys further down the field. Nolan and Zaudema are already out of range of Knuth, but they still have legitimate shots at the podium especially, so let's see how they can handle those last few laps as well. Nolan just in front of Zaudema. They will now prioritise keeping it clean to the checkered flag. It's a real rush now for DRS. It's still not going to be activated for some time. More than a lap from now is when you'll actually see the first use of it. So with it, in that meantime, it's up to the rest of the guys to stay in DRS range. Scream has dropped out of it, as has Maledictus just about. Maledictus now needs a stunning S section, but he can't afford another warning. I've seen him exceed track limits 3 times, and he's got away with all 3 of them. Wow, he is risking it fully, but he knows he needs to. He's burned pretty much all of his battery. The only person in the top 3 that hasn't is Packer. Knuth has, as he did last time, went all out, but this time the American is equal to it, and of course he has penalties, but he's going to try and disrupt his championship rival as much as possible, I imagine, all the way to the line. Maledictus is just teetering on the edge of that DRS range, and of course if he drops out of it, it makes staying within that 3-second window and avoiding that warning an awful lot tougher. Peter hasn't been able to keep up, neither has Scream. There has been an insane pace set by TDG Knuth up at the front, and Packer can live with it. Maledictus is struggling to live with it. Peter trying to stay with it as Maledictus makes a mistake in a turn 3 and that gap just opens up. He's got no battery, and is this now the DRS? And potentially slipping away from Maledictus, and now I think his job of getting the race win just got an awful lot tougher. Knuth still flying, still looking to be trying to snatch his 4th win of the season. It is critical for the championship. He's giving it everything he's got.
Not only that as well, Nolan and Zadova, they're stuck behind Emily Scream, and because of that, he can't seem to get anywhere in to try and get the the jump on them for the penalties. Packer and Peter, yet another 3-second time penalty for the pair of them. So Packer now on 12, Peter on 15. That's just basically going to solidify it, pretty much Packer out of the podium positions as well, and he's going to drop back probably even behind Killer Blue at this rate. So unfortunately for the American, where he's sitting in second now trying to challenge Knuth, he needs to do as much as he can to try and get Knuth further back towards Maledictus. I think Maledictus is really hoping that Packer can play it in his hands, because he's now 2.2 seconds behind the German with 5 laps left to go. Peter back within DRS of Maledictus as well, and in fact he's using that ERS and that DRS to full effect, almost going for the move on the Portuguese driver, and even a little bit further on behind. Nolan also all over the back of Screamers. Maledictus, a little bit of a mistake coming through turn 3, and now we're going to see Peter, DRS wide open. Is he going to try and go for the move on the Portuguese driver coming in towards turn 4? He's looking at it, he thinks about it, but he backs off, and there you go, Packer ahead of Knuth as well, coming through turn 5. So the American now into the lead of the race, and this is what is going to help Maledictus out massively. Those top 2 keep on battling. That's going to allow Maledictus to get the jump on Knuth and get that first race win as well. Nolan still has not found a way past Emily Scream either, so he's still trying to teeter on to try and get himself on that podium. At this moment he is on the podium, but he needs to try and do a little bit more, because Peter is now starting to drop out, or starting to get a better way as well. 2 seconds is the gap between him and Peter to try and even get on the podium. As I said, Knuth has that 3-second time penalty, so he'll at least finish second. It's just between him and Peter for that final podium position at the moment, unless he can get past Scream and Zadama as well. He has the opportunity coming down in towards turn 1, although Nolan has a little bit of a lag coming through the final corner, so hopefully that doesn't sort of affect anything. But DRS now going to be wide open for the McLaren driver, and I think we're going to see the move done on the Ferrari driver. Yep, straight down. That's as easy as you can probably get. Probably the easiest move you'll see all night in this race.
Yes, certainly. And well, we've seen some DRS passing. We've seen some brilliant moves, particularly for Commentalist on Old School. That was a cracker just a few laps ago. The gap for the lead to Maledictus is 2.7 seconds, so close, but Knuth, he is now behind, and he's falling in that dirty air, going to make things a bit tougher, but it is also allowing him to just, as TDB and Old School swapping places. TDB this time has gotten through at turn 4 on Old School into P11, so trying to snatch those last few points possessions. Looks like the points are all wrapped up. Tebos is not near enough to this. The rest of them all just filtering through into line as it stands. Tebos too far adrift, so the rest of them will get points. The gap, Knuth to Maledictus. Slash picks up yet another penalty. He's now on 12 seconds in this race. The gap though between the main protagonist for the win in this race is 2.2 seconds, but now we're going to see Knuth get that boost, because he has DRS now on Packer. He's had a lap or so to save it, and now he's going to deploy that. Packer though, in the meantime, gets a good exit. He's trying to break the slipstream, trying to cover him up, but I don't think there's much he can really do about this. And now the DRS boost propelling Knuth to the race lead, and now that gap again just begins to open. It's nearly at 3 seconds now. Knuth giving everything he's got. Zaudema going through on screen further down the field, and Maledictus trying to stay with it. Tibos another penalty, and my heart's in my mouth every time I see a penalty, because I know how much can change things. Now Peter is attacking Maledictus. Is he going to go to the inside? He does it, but I think now for the first time that gap between Knuth and Maledictus just teetering over 3 seconds. Knuth now may well just have the win in his hands, as Screaming Killer Blue going at it now. There's so much going on I can't exactly cover it all, but Knuth at last has broken clear of that DRS, and now you suspect he is now on the verge of taking a critical race win, with Packer set to plummet down the order.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely crucial for Knuth. He needs to just try and keep up ahead. As I said, the only person that is going to be able to help Maledictus out of all of this is going to be Packer, and you can see Maledictus just making mistake after mistake, is now dropping him even out of 3 seconds from Packer. I know Packer has 12 seconds, but that just shows Maledictus is really struggling to try and keep within those 3 seconds. Slash yet another 3 second time penalty. I think that's his third one just in this lap alone. So I don't know what is going on with Slash, but even further up the field, Packer just sticking on the back of Knuth to try and get that move done, and Slash and Carmentis both changing positions as well. In fact, both side by side, and I think Carmentis is going to hold on to that position from Slash, so nicely done from him. Peter gets that move done on Maledictus now, so that is absolutely crucial for this race win. Knuth, I'm pretty sure, unless he gets himself up another 3-second time penalty, I think that is confirmed that he will be picking up this race win for tonight as Packer gets that move done on Knuth. In fact, coming through turn 4, Packer just parks it on the apex. Knuth has to back off of that one, but again, it's still not close enough. He's 3.1 seconds now up ahead of Maledictus, and I don't think it's going to be close enough to get any sort of move done. We've still got 3 more laps left to go. Zadama has dropped out of DRS from Nolan, so I don't know what has happened with Zadama, but yeah, I just don't think he's enjoying the soft compounded tyre. Nolan is still on for a shout of getting himself on that podium, and potentially, if Knuth makes a mistake, he could be on for a race win.
He's worked himself right into this. His pace has been phenomenal. He's now right behind Maledictus, who was miles ahead of him at the restart. Peter dragging these guys along as best he can now, trying to salvage whatever he can with those 15 seconds of penalties, but the gap now is close. It's about 3.2 seconds, and both Knuth and Maledictus now with DRS assistance. Packer now, is he going to play a bit of a game here? You can see the gamesmanship now. Maledictus cruising inside. Oh, but Peter will get that move done. Nolan is not quite close enough to capitalise on that, so now he's back within 3 seconds, and Knuth makes a little mistake heading through turn 3 then, as Tibos now out of the race late. That's not going to have much of an effect though really on anyone or Tibos himself. No points for him regardless. There won't be any safety cars late here. The gap is 2.9 seconds between them with just under 2 laps to go, Jack. This is a thrilling finale we've got here. Packer, I think, is going to try and play the game as best he can for Maledictus here, but Knuth, so strong, so solid, and now he just has, because he will have the DRS as well to help him out. If he times it right, this race win should be in the hands of the Alfa Romeo, and a major step towards that championship.
Yeah, I think the only thing Packer's going to try and play that game, but the only problem, that DRS range, and especially with that straight into turn 1, it's huge. So Knuth has got a lot of road to play with that DRS. That's not even really going to matter that much. Maledictus is closing up a little bit. I think Knuth must have made some sort of mistake, but DRS now wide open. We're now on to the final lap of this race. DRS, as I said, wide open. ERS being used from the German. Going to get a move done on Packer straight down in towards turn 1. That gap is now up to about 3.1 seconds behind the Portuguese driver. So Maledictus needs to try and get something done. Killer Blue gets the move done on Scream. Scream going to try and hold it down the inside in towards turn 1. Killer Blue's going to have the inside for turn 2, so gets that move done to solidify his way into P7. So nicely done from Killer Blue. And now Peter trying to get that move done on Maledictus again. If he gets this move done, that's going to be race done for him, but he doesn't. 3.5 seconds now. Oh, sorry, 3.6 seconds is what Knuth is up ahead of Maledictus. I don't think Maledictus is going to be close enough to get in his first race win in the League of Europe. Unfortunately for him, he's just dropped out a bit too much, and I think he used a lot of his tyre life and a lot of his battery on that last lap to try and get back within those 3 seconds, as Carmentis a bit further down picks up a 3-second time penalty. But I think this has been one of, if not probably the craziest race that we have had this season for Division 2, with glitches in the lobby going on, with just the amount of chaos that's just been caused. Not in a bad way, don't get me wrong, just it's been so much going on. In the end, Knuth will come across the line to take the win and extend that championship gap, as Maledictus will finish in second. Nolan, in the end, picks up his first podium of the season in third, and I believe that was Zadama in fourth as well. What a race that has been, Dad, and my voice is starting to go a bit. I'm not too sure about yours, but that was it was an absolute chaotic race.
I am fairly lost for words after that. That was quite spectacular, I suppose. I'm not sure what words can be used to describe that Grand Prix, but there we are. That has hit then. Knuth, could that be, with 3 races to go, one hand on that trophy? Because that is a huge leap in points. I'm not exactly sure where Packer finished in the end, but I don't imagine it was very high in the slightest. Great effort from Maledictus, great drive from Nolan again. It all came down to keeping it clean in the end. But most of all, fantastic under pressure from TDG Knuth, 8th on the grid. got the start he needed because of course he didn't get away well in the first race. Got a brilliant start in the second. That set him up for the whole race. He got through with the safety cars, and in the end, he comes through with the race victory by 1.3 seconds from Maledictus. No in P3, Zauraba in P4. Again, it was all about keeping it clean. Scream recovers to P5. I think TDB will be delighted with 6th given the circumstances. Packard down in 7th with all those penalties. Then it's Killablu, Carmentalist, Old School Peter and Slash round out the finishers. Tibbles rounds out the Class 5 finishers. So only the people that saw the checkered flag will get points. Then it is Kriko, Coxey, Hardy, Kumblai and Dylan that didn't see out the race in the end. That was, with the restart and all the chaos we had, probably the most crazy race we've had all season. Maybe not the most, probably was the most entertaining, just not maybe for the reasons we wanted all the time, but nevertheless, that is it. And I guess I'll look to try and get our top 3 in for interviews, and I think they've all got plenty to say, because that was mayhem.
Yeah, as you said, I'm at a loss for words. That was just, I don't know how to describe that, because as I said, that was mayhem. That was mayhem. That's literally the only way I can think about it. So, yeah, in the end, Knuth takes that win, and only just, I don't know how he's managed to do that, but wow, what a race that was. Maledictus, unfortunately, having that, it didn't work out for him in the end. Ends up finishing in 2nd. I don't think he's going to be too displeased with that, but I think he knew he could have gotten a little bit more from that. So it was so close in the end. But in the end, he still manages to pick up his 2nd podium of the season. So as I said, I don't think he's going to be too disappointed with that. And as I said, Ariel Nolan picking himself up his 1st podium, not only in LOE for this season, but in Division 2 as a whole, his 1st podium. So that is absolutely massive for him, and I'm sure he's going to be absolutely delighted for that when we get him into the party. But at the moment, we have now got our 2nd place finisher in the party, so we may as well go straight on into that one. And Mala, well, what a race that was from yourself. That must have been a bit of something at the end there.
Hello, good evening. Yeah, it was a difficult race, very good race, of course. Right there, I was in at P1 just after the safety car was released, but I just couldn't keep up the pace before the DRS, and then I knew Knuth was very fast. Ethan did try to help me because it would also help him because he would do less points on Knuth, but in the end, just wasn't enough. And still P2, a good podium, and I'm happy still with it. Just missed on the race win by a second. Yeah.
And I know that when the 2nd safety car came out, I think you got like the first safety car came out, sorry, I think there was like a 5-second penalty for, I don't know what had happened with Ryan's connection, but yeah, obviously that sort of played a massive factor into it. That 5 seconds that you had to put in the pit, did that, what do you reckon that could have been a cause of you potentially losing out on that podium, or losing out on that win? Because as I said, I know you had to serve that 5-second penalty, whereas I don't think Knuth did. Do you think that could have maybe played a factor into it when you came in under the 2nd safety car? Like you could have maybe jumped up ahead of Knuth?
Yeah, in the end it didn't, because we all had, and we had more than a 6-second gap to the first driver who didn't have. So in the end, none of us lost any position, so it was just the same as I just kept the same position. So in the end, it didn't affect anything, thankfully.
That's good. No, that's good indeed. And yeah, I mean, as I said, absolutely crazy race tonight. Next week we're off at a track that not particularly many people are a fan of. Well, Baku. Is that something that you might try to look to go from the 2nd step of the podium to maybe the top step of the podium?
I don't want to say I'm good at a track or not, because it always surprises me. Maybe I'm expecting to be good and then I'm bad. Sometimes I expect to be not so good and then I do well. So we'll see. I can't really tell. I haven't driven in this game. So yeah, I'd like to get a win before the end of the season, basically. We don't have many opportunities left. This one, I think it was the one, and I missed it. So we'll see. At least if I can get on the podium, that would be good.
Well, it was very close tonight, my friend, and hopefully, we do see you back on the podium soon. Dan, any questions for our 2nd place finisher for tonight?
Yeah, I suppose. So you've had a very solid season, I say, with a lot of like point score. I think every race that you've finished in the points, which is fantastic. In these last three rounds, of course, a second podium of the season. Are you optimistic about these last three tracks in general that maybe you could pick up another?
It's Baku, Brazil, and probably
And
I don't remember.
Suzuka.
I mean, they're okay tracks. I've driven Suzuka a lot in this game because I had a few races there. So maybe I can repeat the result like this. As for the rest of the season, I've been consistent enough, I guess, and the pace has been alright in some tracks, a bit less, but yeah, it's been a better season than the previous ones. 'Cause I haven't had that much and bad luck this time, which is good.
Well, yeah, fantastic. I guess I'll hand it back over to you, Jack. Thank you very much, Mala. And yeah, I guess we'll
Thank
hear.
you.
I suppose we'll go in party joining order. So I guess we'll now hear from our race winner and still championship leader. He must be absolutely exhausted. It's TVG Canoe.
I heard that sigh of relief for you there, Knuth. Well, that championship gap, you've got to think that you've probably got one hand on that trophy now. You've jumped that up massively with Packer having that amount of penalties. That race for you though, two safety car restarts. It was, from our end anyway, it looked absolutely chaotic. I mean, how was that for you? It was literally like a two-horse race at the front. Was that, well, as I said, I heard you breathe that sigh of relief. Was that difficult to try and keep your way in and try and keep that 3 seconds up ahead of Maledictus?
It was absolutely intense towards like to the last lap because it could have been anything. If Pekka would have decided to back me up, for example, in the second to last lap, then I probably would have been like P3 or something. So yeah, I'm completely exhausted. I can't anymore, but I'm so happy.
Yeah, and as I said, I know that was definitely something from yourself. I'm sure you're very, very happy that that managed to work out in your favour in the end. As I said, those two safety car restarts that you had, when you seen everyone behind you just pick themselves up like that 5 second time penalty, was that something that you thought, okay, this could play into my hands? And did you have any intention, if the safety car didn't come out, did you have any intention of making another pit stop, like trying to go for the two stop, or was it always like going to be a plan just to try and stay out just for the one stop and go for a softer medium? Obviously, I said the safety car came out, so it was a two stop anyway. But did you plan on keeping it as a one stop, or was there always the intention of coming in for a second stop?
My plan was to do a one stop, but obviously with safety cars on this track, it's always difficult to tell what strategy is going to be. And the safety cars came in favor of a one stop, so I went for that. But then another safety car came, and well, basically then everyone had to go on softs, otherwise we would have been over. So yeah, I knew that I had good tire wear on this track, and I would have made it through. But I'm kind of glad that the last safety car came out. Because it was just a little bit more safe.
No, exactly. As I said, I think that played into your hands like massively. But again, I asked you this last week, and I'm pretty sure I ask you this every single week when you are on the podium. We've got Baku next week. I know that's, as I said, it's not one that particularly favours a lot of people. Is it one that you might even try and go for that championship, like to try and take that there and then?
I mean, I will take it, obviously, but it's going to be really difficult. It's like Baku and also Brazil, it's two tracks that I'm not super comfortable at. So it's going to be interesting. And yeah, but I hope that I'm going to be a little bit more healthy next week and not completely down. So I was racing the whole race with a blanket wrapped around me, and I'm sweating so hard.
I was about to say, I'm sure you probably just absolutely threw that off when you seen that you ended up winning the race in the end. Dan, have you got any questions for our race winner for tonight?
I suppose more on just the last few laps in particular. What were the nerves like? Because obviously we've seen you throughout the whole season. You're very good under pressure, but what was the pressure like in those last few laps trying to get that gap back out to that 3 seconds you needed?
It was really stressful because I know if it would have been like one more battle with Pekka, then I would have dropped at least a place, maybe two. So it was really intense, and I was trying basically through the whole last stint to figure out what would have been best for me if I want to stay ahead or stay behind, because like I said, it would have been an option for Pekka to just back me off but I think he didn't do it because of his own penalties. And but I can't even speak anymore. I think it was one of my best, if not the best, drive of the season for me, because I feel terrible and I somehow won from P8. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm too happy.
that was an absolutely heroic effort from you, although I must say it's getting quite boring having you here pretty much every week. But thank you very much for talking to us yet again, and I better prepare myself for this. I guess we'll kick off what's probably the main event of the interview. I'll get back over to you, Jack, to hear from our third place finisher, Ariel Nolan.
Let's just let's wait a second.
Hello, my name is Felipe Massacre. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Alright, go on.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Right, okay. Well, Nolan.
This one's legit, by the way.
This is a legit one.
I'm not uploading highlights.
This is a legit one. Your first podium in Division 2. I've got no words as to how that race unfolded, but I'm sure you're probably just as happy as, well, even if you was to even get a win, I'm sure you're just as happy as getting on podium. What was that race like for you? Because that looked intense as hell.
Well, let me tell you something, Jack. You have no words. I've got plenty. So listen to me, all right? So, first of all, I was fast, and then I was fast, right? So, I'm coming through on my laps. I can't swear. I'm trying to not get penalties, right? Maledictus, is Maledictus a noob still in this party?
Yes.
I believe so.
I was faster than both of you, just saying. Right, so I was coming through, I was going to get past, and in the last 6 laps, my internet does this shabam kaboody, right? And everyone starts teleporting all over the place. So I can't overtake Maledictus because his car is, him and Peter are doing the Congo dance going down the straight, and I thought, they weren't ghosting, so I thought my car's going to get broken into smithereens. So I thought, I've not got a podium, I'll sit back in third, but I'd have caught you, Noof, and you'd have finished second. It wouldn't have been a good race for you, mate, I'm just saying. I was catching you both. You wouldn't have got that, you'd have been 2.8 seconds from me, you'd have been, by my calculations, mate.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, yeah, as I said, I know that after that second safety car restart came out, or after the second safety car came out, sorry, that was obviously going to be the best opportunity. Obviously, as you said, your internet started lagging a little bit through, but in early stages of that race, it looked like you and Carmentalist were just sort of trying to work together to keep as many people behind. I know you and Killer Blue up ahead went on a set of the hards to go to the end. Was that always going to be, did you have any intention, I know you went on the hards, but was there any intention of you potentially going for another stop, maybe trying to go for a fastest lap or anything like that towards the end before that second safety car came out at all?
Well, I'll be honest with you, as far as Carmentos goes, couldn't give a crap what he did that race. Didn't care. He did his own thing, we didn't work together once. Ryan did the whole lobby, did that everyone from P3 down, a beauty apparently, because I found out he gave people ahead an ultimatum that they physically can't pit or something. But the strategy the whole time was my trust did soft to hard, because it's got to work out eventually. It worked at Spain, so I thought it'll work here. And then the safety car came out and I was fuming because I pulled a 3-point somewhat gap to Mark, and I was very happy to sit there in the party. I think at the time I said I'm 8th place. The way my season's gone, I'll take that. So, and then the next safety car came out, and I thought at the start it harmed us, and then I remembered I was the only person, and I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I was one of 3 people without a penalty. So I figured I could just sit behind, and my plan's been for 3 weeks in a row. I know I didn't do it, Muller, but my plan has been, since getting shouted at by Lewis Campbell for being terrible at the game, to never send it on anyone, and to just sit back and not overtake people. So that was the plan. So as soon as I caught up to people, I just sat there and hoped to win on penalties.
It seems to me Lewis Campbell has a little bit of a point there, because you've managed to get yourself not from 8th but on the podium, so I suppose that sort of worked out in your favour for tonight as well. And finally we have got, next week is Baku. Are you hoping to try and jump from maybe the first step on this podium and try and go for that win, or do you think you've peaked?
I'm winning the race, mate. There should never be any doubt, right, that I'm going to win. I'd have won today if it weren't for the lag. Noof, mate, you're washed. I'm just saying, I'm coming for your title, so just prepare yourself, mate. The whole time you were worried, weren't you, about Maledictus catching you? It was me, mate. I was on my way, stormtrooping through, Speedy Gonzalez, and then Maledictus whipped on his lag switch to stop me from overtaking him. He cheated. Noof, mate, at the end of the day, I packed Messi yesterday from Foot Champs, so my luck's on the rise, and I'm coming for you.
That's all.
I packed Messi, I've got a podium, next week I'm getting a win, and then Felipe Masca's coming back next season for a roleplay career mode. You heard this.
Okay.
Next season, Ariel Felipe, roleplay season. I'm going to post pictures when I arrive at the races. If I crash, I'm going to let everybody know that I'm alright and stuff. Trust me, mate, I'm going to win the title next season.
All right. You've heard that here first. Well, Dan, any questions for Nolan for tonight?
I'm just looking at the Drivers' Championship standings, and I'm seeing, you've moved yourself up. Then you've scored nearly you've scored nearly half of your points in a single race.
Don't word it like that, mate. Come on, come on, hold on.
But you've worked yourself into a position where you've got like the likes of Rudy, Tebos, Mark. They're right in front of you. So who do you reckon is going to be your main target for these last 3 races?
I'm getting top 10 in the championship. I don't know who's in 10th.
That's it.
I said after Belgium that I was getting top 10, so I'm getting top 10. Mark will leave after I crash him out one more time, so that'll be all right. Rudy, I'm not worried about Rudy. He's on a wheel. I know he might cheat because he's on a wheel. Who else? Tibos. He tries making it 5 wide at turn 1. I'll be alright. I'll get top 10.
Yep. So you heard it here first. He's getting top 10, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on. How many points is that? Am I being stupid? How many points? Hold on. I don't want to say that and then look stupid. No, screw it. We'll get top 10. I've not looked. We'll get top 10.
You're about 15 points behind if my maths.
Oh, easy, mate. 25 points for a win, innit, at Baku?
Yeah.
26 for a fastest lap. Yeah, easy. Yeah, we'll get that.
Well,
soft to hard, mate, at Baku. Just you watch. Soft to hard, mate. Hunter Cam style. We've got this.
Well, I was going to ask you another question, but I don't think I can really ask it on stream. But I guess I'll end it.
Of course, come on. Enjoy yourself. We're not going to get this moment again. All 3 of us here know that we're not getting this moment again. So come on, enjoy yourself.
I value the league actually still being up on YouTube after this, so I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to hand it back over to you, Jack, to finally round out the stream. Thanks to all 3 of you.
Well, what a crazy race that was in the end. As I said, after a few lobby glitches and whatever we've just watched tonight, what we've witnessed, it is Knoof that comes out on top, Maledictus in second, and Ariel Nolan in third. Make sure you guys tune in to. Hopefully, it will be another crazy race next week for round 15 at Azerbaijan. Jakku, shall we say, as Nolan would say. Yeah, Azerbaijan. Of course, Division 1, 3 and 4 at 6:30 PM GMT, and Division 2 and Division 5 at 8:10 PM GMT. Thank you everyone for tuning in for tonight. Apologies obviously with the issues that are going on at the beginning of the stream. We'll catch you guys next week for round number 15 around the Baku City circuit.